Yeah, I did want to touch on Jayden Daniels really quick. It's funny, we do, just to allow people to peek behind the curtain, we plan a lot of this show on Monday, who we're going to talk about, because we got to watch a lot of film on these players to get ready to record these shows. And so we do a lot of the show planning on Monday, and we don't often have the opportunity to watch the games on Monday night, the game or the games that we had this weekend, and be able to react to that. But Jayden Daniels' performance is so unbelievable. I at least wanted to bring it to the table. I'd love to hear just some quick thoughts from you on what you thought of Jayden Daniels. But Jon, specifically to me, what I loved about Daniels against the Cincinnati Bengals, the confidence that he's already playing with. Incredible, man. I mean, we saw in that game, they've got a fourth down situation, and Jayden's looking to the sideline immediately. He's like, let's go for it. We're on fire. Keep the offense on the field. Let's do it. So to have that confidence already as a rookie, you love to see. I know football players offensive guys always want to go for it, but just to have that faith to be able to put the ball back in his hands was great to see. And then the other part of Jayden Daniels, sure, he's got a great arm. We've seen the mobility, everything like that. Jon, he didn't throw on the run a ton at LSU, and I dig into this a little bit deeper in my conversation with Seth, so if you guys haven't seen the QB showcase, you should go and watch that. But specifically, he only had 15 attempts all of last year at LSU where he threw the ball on the run in a scramble situation. And people go, oh, well, he's a super mobile quarterback. He'll be great throwing on the run. Yeah, he just didn't do it a lot at LSU. He did it quite a bit against the Cincinnati Bengals. He was 3 for 3 throwing off of scramble situations. He was 6 for 6 when you throw in design rollouts as well, so those throws on the run. It was a part of his game that we were hoping he would develop more and get to more, and we already saw that against the Bengals. So I just wanted to say that sort of about his scouting report of what I thought of Daniels and what I thought of that Week 3 performance. Unbelievable, but specifically those two areas was so much fun to watch for him. So I'm curious of what you thought Daniels pre-draft.
Well, I think you nailed it. We talked about Week 1. We talked about him, right? We went over his performance against the Bucs, and what are some of the big takeaways I had in that game? Would not throw the football down the field, even when it was there. Tucked it and scrambled. Everything was moving way too fast for him. He seemed overwhelmed. It was one read, check down, or it was one read, scramble, even if it was a clean pocket. Didn't feel like he had confidence in terms of being able to see down the field. The other thing was throwing on the move, right? If he's going to become a runner, he's going to play out of structure, and he's going to be somebody who's more in the 3-second time to throw range, then you have to be able to be a creator with your arms still. You can't just be a creator with your legs. The fact that he's gotten that from Week 1 to Week 3 is really impressive. In this game, we saw him make a number of really good throws down the field. Everybody loves to hate on Cliff Kingsbury. I get it. I'm not saying I'm a Kingsbury fan. I have had my moments where I wanted to pull my hair out over things Cliff Kingsbury was doing. However, I think it was untrue and unfair that people were saying that they haven't designed opportunities for Daniels to take shots down the field. They had. It's on the tape if you watched. And in Week 3, and even some in Week 2, I think he put one down the field in Week 2. But in Week 3, he started letting the ball go. He started trusting in it, being confident in it, making those throws. And you saw, obviously, he had 2 big ones down the field in this game. And the other thing I think that was really telling, and I said this to you after the Bucs game, even though that game wasn't that competitive, and toward the end of the game it was clear they were going to lose, he was keeping the ball, trying to run guys over. And we'll the health thing is a boring conversation, but it matters. It just, how can we know what's going to happen in that regard?
Right.
But it speaks to his toughness and his moxie. And I said that to you. I said the look in his eye late in the game did not seem like somebody who was overwhelmed or put off by the fact that they'd struggled at all. Mm-hmm. And it was so cool to see that. I just felt like I could recognize that in him even after that game. And it was just like, man, this is interesting. None of this seems too big for him, even though he's had a pretty awful day. And as you hear teammates and coaches talk about him, you hear like that, he is unflappable as a personality. So we know traits matter a ton as quarterbacks from a quarterback perspective. We just aren't in a position to evaluate those very much as draft people before the draft because of our vantage point into these players and who they are as people. But once they get to the NFL, we start to see it more and more. And we know what those traits are. And I think for him, it's obvious that those traits are pretty positive.
Yep, I agree. We'll dig more into sort of Daniels in the last 3 weeks and everything, because we're going to, at some point in the near future, do a show where we keep tabs on offensive and defensive rookie of the year. Maybe we'll do that for next week. We haven't discussed that yet. But over the next couple of weeks, whenever it is, I'm sure that we're going to bring up Jayden Daniels once again.